So as we are discussing about this pollination and fertilization, so already we have discussed that various process which takes place through different agents that cross pollination. So out of that, one by one now we are going to discuss about it. So first of all, that anemophily. So that is what called as wind pollination. So that the transportation of that pollen grains from anther to that stigma through that wind. Understand? When that wind comes out flowing that air, so through which that pollination can take place. From here to there it can be flown out, and wherever that stigma is there, that will be receiving that particular type of pollen grains. So ultimately it will lead to that fertilization. Understand? So that process is called as anemophily. So that is also called as wind pollination. So here this type of anemophily process, certain type of characteristic features are very important for that. So out of that, so here they are not large in size or showy type flowers or attractive in color. So that flowers need not to be attractive in color, or nectar secretion is not required, because other agents like insects or birds, they are not coming for here to collect that nectar, or they are attracted by that particular color like ordinary flowers. Understand? So that is why then it cannot be produced in large in size. Then at the same time that pollen grains should be produced in large quantities. It should produce more and more pollen grains, because it will be flown out, is not here and there through that wind. So many female flowers will be there. They will be requiring that particular type of pollen grains for that fertilization process. So for that transportation, it requires more production of that pollen grains, and it is not required to be attractive in color or secretion of that nectar. Then another one, there also that the pollen grains should be produced with a light weight. Why? Because it should be flown in the air, isn't it? So if it is to be flown in that air, it should be having light weight, little bit weight. When it is burst out, it should spread here and there. Then it will be taken out through that wind flowing. So light weight. If it is heavy weight, supposing, just imagine. Heavy weight means it cannot flow here and there. Straight away it will be falling down. So at that time that the pollination is not becoming possible. So that the pollen grain should be less in weight. Then another one, there are also new leaves, that the pollen grains are appearing before that new leaves are formed. For example, we are going to discuss about that maize plant. So that maize plant maximum is anemophily takes place with the pollination. So this male inflorescence at the apex region, at the end of that growth region, it forms that male inflorescence. Inflorescence means what? Cluster of flowers. All together it is formed. So that is what called as male inflorescence. Their male inflorescence only that anther can be formed. So that anther is producing what? That the pollen grains. Understand? So before that formation of that maturity of that leaves, here that leaflets are formed, that inflorescence will be coming out. Because otherwise, just imagine if that long leaves are formed over it, you might not see that the maize plant. You just have a look over it. Understand? So at that time you will come to know. So here it is not grown up. On the below it is the long leaves can be formed. At the apex region, small leaves. So it cannot prevent that pollination process. So in case of that maize, you see on that axis of that leaf, that the female inflorescence will be formed. That is what that differentiation here. Understand? Male flower is separate, female flower is separate. So they are also formed in the form of inflorescence. That is a cluster of or group of flowers joined together. it is formed over it. So when the female flowers are formed at the axis of that leaf, just below it. But at the over it, that apex region, the end of that growth region, so there that male inflorescence will be formed just before that leaves are getting that maturity. Understand? So here that male inflorescence, what happens when they are getting mature over it, that will be burst out. When they are bursting out, that anthers will be spreading what? That pollen grains. Then that here it is in the form of that field in nature, you know, means not only one plant, a particular region. So many plants are grown up over it in the form of field. So here over it that the pollen grains are flown and it is coming out, and the wind it is spreading here and there, and it may be coming down also a little bit. It's not flown out down through that wind. So when they are flowing like this, the stigma will be here on the female inflorescence. So here supposing pollen grains are just flown out through that winds here and there. When they are moving here and there, that stigma will be receiving that pollen grains required for it. Alright. So that pollination process, cross pollination can be taking place through that wind. That is what called as anemophily. Understand? So that is a simple process which takes place in that maize plant. Then next one, that hydrophily. So a type of vallis area plant. So that is grown up in that water. On the surface it is grown up. So that is also having certain type of characteristic features, vallis area, hydrilla, for example for that. Then here that the plants are dioecious. So in a dioecious, that male plant is separate, female plants are separate. Understand? So last class we discussed about monoecious and dioecious. Monoecious means unisexual flower will be there that can be found on the same plant. This is monoecious. Why? Because here male inflorescence, male flowers are separate, female flowers are separate, but that is found on the same plant. But here dioecious means male plant is separate. Understand? So that female plants are separate. So they are grown up over the surface of that water. So that is what it is found there, and that flowers are also small in size. So when that anthers are producing that pollen grains, they will be burst out and spread out into the water, and water will be flowing from place to place. Over it, another female flower is there, means that will be receiving that pollen grains which is just flown over that water content. Understand? So that after receiving that, fertilization can be taken place. Then another one, it is also having that same specific gravity of that water. So that is what very important. Supposing just you are putting one stone into the water, that will be just entering into that ground. Is not? So you cannot flow over that water because that gravity is more. But here, that water content gravity and that pollen grains gravity also almost same. Then only it can be flown over that water. So that is what that same gravitational pull is found over that water content, that pollen grains. Then another one, this flowers, water till the meet that female flowers, it will be flowing here and there. That pollen grains will be flown over that water. Supposing here water content is there, then here some plants are growing up over it, then a flower is there, male flower, then it is spreading out that pollen grains, then pollen grains are going over on that water. Here supposing another plant is there, that is a female plant, then here that stigma will be grown up over it. When that water is flowing here and there, here also that pollen grains are there, then ultimately that stigma will be receiving that particular pollen grain. Understand? So when that stigma is receiving that pollen grains, that will be transported through that ovary, through that stem. So there that ovule is receiving that pollen grains, there that fusion can take place, there that fertilization will be taken place. Understand? So that is what this process of this hydrophily. Then another one, this zoophily, that is through that agencies of various animals. So that is what called as anemophily. So what is anemophily, that is a winged pollination. Zoophily. Zoophily means the agents are involved as animals. Different types of animals are involved as an agent. Understand? So that process is called as zoophily. So that out of that zoophily, that various classification we have discussed. That is entomophily through that insects, ornithophily through that birds, then after that chiraptrophily, that is through that bats, and malacophily, that is through that snail, and another one man artificial pollination. So that is what coming under 5 process through different agents which takes place in that zoophily. Understand? So here that entomophily, that insect pollinated flowers. So here maximum it can that characteristic features of that flowers are day blooming flowers. The morning when sunlight comes out, daytime comes out, that flower will be blooming out. So at that time you know very well, so many insects are flowing here and there, butterflies, honeybees. Understand? So they are flying here and there. In the daytime, that different flowers are having different colored petals. So they will be attracting that animals or that insects, particular insects. So that can be taken place. Understand? So that it will be carrying, then on seeing that the color, it will be sitting over it, then coloring that pollen grains, again they will be flying over it and sitting another flower, there that stigma will be receiving. So that pollination can be taken place. Understand? The next we shall discuss in the next class.